Hello and good evening. Thank you for joining us on this very special edition of Red Dot Forum Camera Talk, coming to you on a Thursday night, not Saturday.
Random, I know.
And we were just here, what, a few days ago?
Don't remind me, I know.
All right, so can't forget the intros. I am your host, David Farkas. I am joined, as always, by my co-host, Josh Lehrer.
Hey, everybody.
Over there, nope. There.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep. We've got Jose Rivera producing the show and taking your questions. So we have we've had a very exciting day today.
That is an understatement.
Yes, it is. Okay.
If there's any sort of high point in our jobs, it's a product release.
This is like go time.
This is like our Super Bowl.
It is.
And also the World Cup and also the Olympics all combined into one thing, I think.
Yes, into the compressed time frame. So apologize in advance if I say or do things that don't seem normal because did not sleep a lot last night. But I'm here for it. It's very exciting.
Yes, it's been It's been a very long day for all of us.
Yes.
And a very long week, but we love what we do, so honestly, it's all good.
Okay, so what are we talking about?
I don't know, I forget. No. This morning at 9 a.m. Eastern time, Leica launched the newest member of the SL camera family, the SL3-P.
There she is.
It is holding.
There it is.
It looks like an SL3 and an
really
SL3F because it is the same body, but this is the first time we've seen a third iteration in the SL family within the same sort of generation.
Yep.
And it's actually pretty rare.
It is.
For Leica to do that. This is like M10R kind of vibes.
I'm feeling that.
Because that's really the only time other time I can think of we've had like a third iteration in color like that.
Yes. Now, on a lot of product launches, we get a couple days notice.
If we're lucky.
Yeah. And I guess this was a blessing and a curse because we have had a lot of time, kind of with the SL3P. Big thank you to Leica, who flew us out to Germany for a couple events out there. A lot of fun through May and June.
Yeah, we got to shout out Matt at Leica and Nathan and Rob, the whole Leica USA team, for getting us over there.
Yes, and of course also to Andrea and Nathan, the other Nathan.
The other Nathan, yeah.
There's two Nathans.
That's right.
I really feel like Leica rolled out the red carpet, not just for us, but for a lot of photographers, a lot of camera reviewers, and I saw it this morning. Tons and tons of videos online. Definitely recommend checking them out. These are great people. Got to spend some time with them and get to know everybody. And, what I love about photography is that everyone comes at things from a slightly different perspective. And, we see it just in our own company, in our own space. We're all different photographers. So definitely encourage you to check out all the different sources. Don't just watch us.
But do remember, we're right and everybody else is wrong. Unless they agree with us, then they're also right.
Perfect.
Want to make sure we get that on paper, before we get to it.
That makes total sense. So we had an opportunity to actually generate a lot of pictures and samples. And then we also had a chance over the last week here in Miami to do some extensive testing in our style and some comparisons.
Correct. Although not nearly as much testing as I really wanted to do because we didn't have quite as much time with the production copy as we would have liked. But I think we are really starting to see something special. And obviously we'll do more content on the S3P and all of the things it brings to the table over the next few months as we get more time with it, get to know it better, because of course we always want to deep dive into the settings and get everything perfect. So it's been very cool.
It has.
To spend time with the camera. So David, can you tell us a little bit of sort of highlight features about the SL3P? And we also, just before you start, not that I'm going to talk about it right this second, but there were some other products announced today.
Yes, we'll get to that.
We'll get there. Just don't forget, because I know
I probably will forget.
I'll remind you again.
I'm a little scattered right now.
Yes, okay.
So the SL3P, same body, same platform as the SL3 and the SL3S.
Yes.
The biggest change is the sensor. So not the 24 megapixel sensor from the SL3S, not the 60 megapixel sensor from the SL3. We now have a new 44 megapixel backside illuminated CMOS sensor in the SL3P. and it brings some advantages with it. So I'm just going to back up one quick second here, which is if we look at the SL3 and the SL3-P, where they are positioned, and we'll get into this a little more later. But basically, I think a lot of people fell into two camps here. They had an SL3 and they said, you know, I want something that is faster, that shoots at a higher frame rate, that has better autofocus tracking capability, or more advanced video features. Yes, I know most people don't, but hear me out.
Some people do.
Some
yes.
people do.
Yeah.
So we're going to give them their flowers, okay? But I'd say most people with an SL3 say, gee, I wish it had a little bit better autofocus. I wish it had a little bit, faster frame rate. Because, for instance, the SL3 can do autofocus tracking up to 5 frames a second.
Right.
It can shoot faster than that, but with no autofocus, just manual focus.
Yeah.
So Leica has the SL3-S. And people are like, yes, it's great. It has 700 and some autofocus points, and it's way faster. Oh, but it's only 24 megapixel.
Correct. And we do have a show on the SL3S where we deep dove into it, but that was following the path of the SL2 and the SL2S,
Yes.
which was 47 megapixels and 24 megapixels,
Yes.
with the SL2S designed for speed and better video performance.
Exactly.
And of course, when the SL3 came out, like within the first day, people are asking, "What about an SL3S?"
Exactly. Right.
It's like,
right. They set that.
Yes.
Precedent.
They're good at that. Yes.
So I think that maybe times have changed from the SL2S to the SL3S, and frankly, I personally know a lot of fans of the SL3S.
Yeah.
And the 24 megapixels is absolutely not a deal breaker whatsoever for them. They love the performance, they love the high ISO capability, the speed, and the files look great.
Yeah.
So universally, I think the camera is well loved. But there is that contingent, just like there is a contingent on the SL3 side. On the SL3S side, there's people that said, I want all that kind of performance, but I would like more megapixels.
Yeah, I think also one of the big features we probably don't want to forget to mention about the SL3S is the addition of phase detection autofocus, which was a long time coming. I mean, we've talked about this pretty openly that Leica has lagged behind for a long time on autofocus tracking performance.
Yeah.
Even though they invented autofocus,
Yeah.
which is hilarious to me. But
1976.
to their credit, despite the fact that they have lagged behind, they have aggressively tried to improve since the original SL through both firmware and hardware changes. So they have clearly been aware of the demand for that, and that really brings us to where we're at now.
There was even a firmware update for the SL3 and SL3S this morning.
That's right, yes.
They'd improved autofocus performance.
Even more, right?
Amazing.
It's actually crazy.
Yeah.
So the SL3S was a big autofocus improvement over the SL3 with the addition of phase detection, with the ability to shoot at 30 frames per second with continuous autofocus, which was awesome. It went from 300, I wrote it down, 315 autofocus points to 779 on the SL3S. So from the 3 to the S. So huge improvement.
Yes.
And a lot of our customers picked up S's for wildlife, action, family stuff, anytime where they really needed that.
Very popular also, certainly in our circles, with people we work with in the local area for event photography. Very, very popular for event photography where you really don't need ultra high resolution and it can be a hindrance in the workflow. So having 24 megapixel files on a camera that can perform well in low light, that can shoot quickly, that can do autofocus tracking, it's a perfect event camera. So that has not, I would say those people are perfectly satisfied with what the SL3S has, but a lot of them would have, say, an SL3 also to do formal portraits, to do studio portraits, to do higher resolution work. And they kind of went to this 2-camera system.
Right, because that's a big gap, 24 megapixels to 60 megapixels. I mean, that's huge. And also the SL3 is still the dynamic range king.
Still is.
15 stops of dynamic range to go along with those 60 megs. The sensor that we've seen in the Q3 and the M11 family as well. So it's a really tried and true and very well-loved sensor that we've, cherished in the last couple of years. So David, talk to me about the SL3-P and tell me what are the highlighting features. We'll get into the comparisons in a bit.
Sure.
But we talked about the sensor, but what else what else new stuff? Maybe start very briefly with the minor cosmetic changes.
Sure.
Just so we can visualize that for everyone because we're right in front of us, and then we'll talk about some of the more
this one's this one's pretty easy. Just to kind of cover some of these highlights here, we've got okay, there's an SL3. So if we could just do a little overhead view action. So here is the SL3 that we all know and love. Very familiar. And I will use an S as well. Is that an S over there?
Right here, my good sir.
Yeah. So I just want to show all three.
Got it. Okay.
So the SL3, the OG here, we've got the red dot, we've got the white Leica logo, we have a silver shutter release. Remember that one? And looking very SL3-ish.
Yeah.
Put that up there. And we came to the SL3S. Same red dot, but we've got the blacked out text here, so just kind of black on black, just in relief, engraved. And everything's the same on the backside, same kind of button colors here. And also the lens release button, I should point out, is also in silver.
Correct.
Now, when we come to the SL3-P, we are back to a white logo, but there is no red dot, conspicuously missing. But kind of holds true that Leica's P editions, for the M system at least, don't have red dots. So I think this was kind of an homage to that. Obviously, I would say it's not super subtle. You still have this huge white Leica logo
it's funny
right here.
They left that on there, but honestly, I don't mind it at all.
It kind of would be cool if it was blacked out also. And along that line, you'll notice that they actually blacked out the shutter release and they blacked out the lens release button. So it's kind of funny they went like this really black aesthetic here. They also blacked out the writing, just like they do on the SL3S, but they left the white logo there. So
I don't mind it.
Yeah. So cosmetically, that's what we're looking at. It's pretty minor.
Correct. Yeah.
If you're one of these people that just has to have a red dot, well, you shouldn't get this camera. There you go. You saved your money there.
That's right.
And I'd say the changes inside that sensor, it's really all stemming from that in terms of what we can do.
Yeah.
I think that this kind of stems from all the functions and features stem from the speed of the new sensor. So, Josh, you have the comparison over there.
Yes.
And I want to kind of run through this because one of the biggest things is sensor readout speed.
Yes.
So what was the sensor readout speed on the original?
Yeah. So we should say first that the SL3P, the P stands for speed, right? Because speed has a P in it.
Yep, it sure does.
So nobody said it has to be the first letter.
Maybe not in English, but yeah.
Okay. If someone watching speaks a language where the word speed starts with P, that's the language the SL3P is in. Anyway, so on the SL3, the sensor readout speed is about 100 milliseconds. Well, first of all, can you give us a brief overview about not necessarily all the technical aspects of sensor readout speed, but why it's relevant?
Sure. I'd say there's two facets to this. One is if you imagine a sensor, and we've all heard this term, rolling shutter effect, but maybe you don't know what that is. It used to be called back in our day, it was called the jelly effect, which I don't think is very nice, but it was this jello effect. So what that means is the sensor reads, let's say like an old tube TV, line by line, top to bottom, going like that, okay? And that means that if it takes 100 milliseconds to start from one corner and get to the last corner from one side to the other of that sensor, if you have an object that is moving faster than that speed, you will see a visible movement across the frame as it's capturing it, which means the rolling shutter will give you diagonally oriented objects. So imagine, just pretend like this lens.
Now,
and it would tip because as it's reading out further and further away from.
It's important to note that this applies to when you're using the electronic shutter.
Yes.
The mechanical shutter is not impacted by this.
No.
The electronic shutter is what matters, and that's what you're going to use for either super silent shooting, super fast shutter speeds above a 4,000, I think, and also the really high burst mode. So this is this rolling shutter that David's talking about. Those are the situations that you would see it in because that's when you're using the electronic shutter.
And video.
Or video, which is also using electronic shutter. Correct. Yes. Okay.
So one of the ways that historically that people have minimized rolling shutter effects on sensors that have a slower readout is to use a smaller sensor area like APS-C. So that is why you see a lot of the sensor modes or a lot of the capture modes on the SL3 that are actually cropped formats
For video.
Say for 4K video, it shoots in APS. And the reason is because that cuts that 100 milliseconds down to a fraction of that, which means you don't notice that effect as much.
Right. So basically what you're saying is a faster sensor readout speed is going to give us less rolling shutter.
Yes.
So the ability to shoot things that are moving at a higher rate of speed with the electronic within the frame with the electronic shutter.
Yes.
As well as using a larger area of the sensor for a higher quality video.
Exactly. And then the second point that I think is that we're seeing here that's equally important, and our testing bore out as well, which don't want to ruin that, but we'll little teaser, is also the faster the sensor can read out and go to the image processor, the Maestro 4, the faster it can do a feedback loop for autofocus. Because the way autofocus works is it makes a small adjustment based on what it's seeing, both phase detection and contrast detection, and it makes an adjustment in the motor on the lens, takes another capture of that, adjusts further until it gets focus. The faster the sensor can read out, or the more times it can do that in a given amount of time, means that that feedback loop is that much quicker. So this will all make sense as we run through these numbers.
Right, so let's talk about the actual measurements of the sensor readout speed. So SL3 is 100 milliseconds, just about. SL3S is about 51 milliseconds, so twice as fast?
Yes.
Twice as fast, yes.
Twice as fast.
The SL3P has two different specifications because it can shoot in two different bit depths. Most cameras, all the predecessors were shooting at 14-bit. So at 14-bit, the SL3P is just a hair under 40 milliseconds. So about 10%, no, 20% faster than the SL3S.
Yep.
But in the 12-bit mode, which is what we're going to see for the higher burst rates, is 20 milliseconds.
Yep.
20 milliseconds. So more than twice as fast as the SL3S, which was already the speed king, and more than, well, I guess it's 5 times faster than the SL3.
Because that's how math works, kids.
I love it.
Yep.
It's too late in the day for math. But anyway, those are the numbers. Now, those numbers...
So that means, so I'm just going to put that, now I'm going to roll that up.
Yeah.
So, okay, so that means that it can do 5 times the number of autofocus adjustment and calculations per second that the SL3 could. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But it also means roughly 20% faster autofocus than the SL3S.
Correct. So not only are you getting faster autofocus in everyday situations, tracking or whatever, you're also getting that ability to shoot at a higher frame rate. Because like we said earlier, the SL3 is 5 frames per second with autofocus. If you go faster than that, it locks the focus and that's it. SL3S, because we had that much faster readout speed and that lower resolution, we got 30 frames per second with autofocus. Now that's using the electronic shutter. So obviously you're not going to get 30 frames a second with a mechanical shutter. That'd be insane. The SL3P, we get 40 frames per second.
Yes.
So even though the SL3P is 20 more megapixels than the SL3S, it is 10 frames per second faster with autofocus, but compared that to the SL3, it is 8 times faster. 5 versus 40 frames per second with autofocus.
You're really good at math.
I am crushing it right now. I practiced for like 3 hours on the drive over here. I was like 8 times 5.
His 6th grade math teacher is
She's
so proud right now.
She's so proud. She hated me, actually. Mrs. Nelson, that was her name.
Oh, boy.
That's right, back in the day.
Shout out. Yeah.
Anyway, so that one spec, that sensor readout speed,
makes a huge difference.
Is huge. I mean, it's crazy because we already thought the S3S was about as fast as we were going to see in an SL3 camera, and suddenly now we have 20 more megapixels, but faster shooting and faster autofocusing. It's crazy. So, David, can you talk a little bit about...
And if we're doing math, as a percentage, that's 83% more pixels.
Ooh, I love 83%.
That's almost double.
Now, the SL2 ISO range was 50 to 100,000.
Yep.
Excuse me, SL3. SL3.
Yes.
50 to 100,000. Now, of course, because the SL3S is low resolution, we had 50 to 200,000. What do we got on the SL3P?
The same.
So even though, again, 20 more megs, we still have the same 50 to 200,000 ISO range, which is kind of insane. Now, I personally don't know how much time I would be spending at 200,000.
Well, we'll show them.
But unfortunately, yes.
You can decide for yourself.
That's right. But it's nice to know that it's there, just in case you find yourself I don't know, like in a cave somewhere or
Who
something.
knows?
Now, we talked about autofocus points already. So the SL3, 315
Yep.
autofocus points. SL3S, 779 autofocus points. SL3P, 819 autofocus points. So not a huge jump in the number of points over the S, but a significant jump over the number of points in the 3. Now, they added another aspect to that.
They did. But I want to talk to these points for 1 second before we get
Yes,
to
please.
the hybrid autofocus.
Yeah.
So in our testing, when we were doing head-to-head autofocus testing, because we had to see for ourselves if that number was real, and spoiler alert, it is real. What was really interesting, because of the higher resolution and because of the higher density of autofocus points, even in the same tracking mode, and you didn't see it because, well, frankly,
I was the subject.
Josh was the subject, barging at the camera.
That was fun.
And I was like,
Got my steps in that thing.
He sure did. The actual boxes, the little green boxes tracking Josh's lovely face, were smaller and more refined in terms of finding the subject when it was small in the frame than the SL3S was.
Okay.
Because you have 83% more pixels on the subject, which means those pixel sites are smaller, they're more refined, and there's more of them.
Yes.
So it can track more accurately across the frame from corner to corner than the SL3S can.
Or the SL3, obviously.
Or the SL3. So this is definitely a real life improvement that bore out in our testing.
Yeah. And they also added everyone's favorite buzzword now, which is AI. However, there is AI machine learning in the autofocus of the SL3P, so it allows you to track subjects better, to recognize subjects better.
It has new modes too.
It has well, now we have those modes in the...
Yeah.
It's not quite as exciting.
It was new when we tested it. Yeah.
Exactly. It has a car mode, which is very cool. But now we get that.
And car parts,
yes,
which is hilarious.
Which I barely experimented with. So I still have a lot of testing to do with this new camera because we're just scratching the surface right now. But overall, what we're seeing is the fastest autofocusing Leica camera ever made.
Yes.
Fastest in terms of shooting the fastest frame rate with autofocus, and also just the fastest tracking of a moving subject and the most accurate tracking of a moving subject as well.
Yes.
It is insane, all without giving up that much resolution, because the difference between 60 and 44, I'm not going to say it's nothing, because it's not nothing, but it is relatively negligible.
As a percentage, for sure.
But the difference between 24 and 44 is significant.
Yes.
Significant. I mean, really, it's enough to where the SL3P is, I think, probably the main SL3 camera now, with the S and the P, or excuse me, the S and the regular 3 having their own strengths, which we'll get into in just a moment. But the P is really the ultimate evolution of the SL3 platform, which we didn't know was going to be a thing.
We certainly didn't.
But of course, you can't have the P without the 3 and the S. You have to have those steps. You can't just come out with the S3P and go, here it is. You have to learn and come out with stuff and this and that, and that's all. We wouldn't have the M11P if it wasn't for the M8. So
sure. And of course, you didn't touch on everybody's favorite topic, video modes.
Oh my goodness, David, could you please tell us, because there are actually some significant.
There really are.
Could you please use a combination of numbers and letters to explain to us why video is so much better on the SL3P?
Well, ABC, 1, 2, 3.
Those are really good numbers and letters.
Let me use real letters and numbers that mean something to some people. To the other people, go get some coffee or something.
No, don't leave.
Oh, don't leave. Stay here. So the SL3S already had a really great feature called open gate recording. That means rather than a crop sensor format of, let's say, 4K in 16:9 or Cine 4K in 17:9, open gate is a full 2:3 aspect ratio. It's the entire sensor. And the selling point of that is twofold. One, you can put either an M lens or an SL lens or an R lens or whatever you adapt to the SL, or a light Cine lens, and you capture the full character of that lens, full frame. The other thing is it allows you, if you are doing, say, a cinema crop, to move that crop up and down in the frame. You have a lot of reframing cropability. So if there's an actor walking through the frame and he's kind of hopping up and down, you can actually, track that. Likewise, for people shooting hybrid video projects where they need a horizontal for a produced video, but they need a vertical 16:9 for social media reels, 6K open gate resolution is exactly the amount that if you flip it this way, you can actually end up with a full resolution vertical image.
Okay.
We actually did that for our little promo. If anyone of you saw that, I shot that in open gate and just cropped it vertical. Amazing.
Nice.
It works.
Nice.
So that's 6K open gate. But it really doesn't leave any room for cropping. So, gee, I think we need more resolution, right?
More case.
There's more Ks. So the SL3-P introduces 6.4K open gate because that extra 0.4 really makes a difference.
Yeah.
But also 8K open gate. And there was another one too.
4K 120.
No. There's another open gate setting. There's 3 open gate settings.
Oh, well,
it's in my article.
you got to find it.
The brain.
It's been a long week.
But it will do up to 8K open gate, which leaves a tremendous amount of room for post-production cropping after the fact. Vertical, horizontal, whatever.
Yeah.
Stabilization, all of it.
Sweet.
And it's really nice. So that also, because of that readout speed, we can get 8K. And also it does 8K RAW over HDMI, which is pretty insane. So for like real productions who want to shoot the highest quality possible and storage prices, you know, who cares? Go for it. 8K RAW, because, you know, your hard drive wasn't full enough before. But it also does in-camera ProRes 5.8K. It does all these other settings from Cine 6K, Cine 8K, Cine 4K, 4K, UHD. And of course, one of my favorites, Josh mentioned it, is finally, I have been asking for this for a long time, just 4K 120 for us normal plebes down here who just want to be able to shoot some slow-mo stuff. So they have that. Again, all brought to us because of that faster readout sensor.
So that sounds like the SL3-P brings almost as many video improvements as it does photo improvements.
Yes.
And you're also getting, of course, all the benefits of that autofocus tracking for video.
Yes.
So you can do video with the faster tracking, the better subject recognition, the high resolution autofocus points. All that comes across to video as well. And Leica did redesign the video menu for the SL3-P, which has now made it to the 3 and the 3S in the new firmware that was announced today. So it is easier to configure the camera's video modes now, all 3 models with the new firmware. So if you haven't downloaded the new firmware for your SL3 or your SL3S that came out today, make sure you do that because you can get all these new features. There are more features than that, of which I can't remember any because it's been a busy day. But
support for the 35 Noctilus.
That's right. Oh, yes. For the 4 people who are watching who have.
Yeah.
That's for you 4 people.
Such a tease,
They're
right?
lucky
Such
day.
a tease, yeah.
Okay, so I think we also should talk about content credentials. Content credentials is a feature that we saw on the M11P, which will digitally sign your files with information that cannot be modified. So you can always authenticate it as real and who is the original creator. We don't have that in the SL3. We had it in the SL3S, but not for burst mode. On the SL3P, we have it for all modes. So there's no longer a limitation of content credentials for single shot like the SL3S. You now can use it for any setting of any burst mode that you want. So
yes,
I wanted to mention that. I think I probably would turn it off if I didn't need it, just because it does chew up a little bit of processing power.
It does, yeah.
And probably battery life too. But if you are a working photographer, photojournalist, documentarian, you can leave it on without compromising the burst mode, which is really, really nice.
Yeah, for sure.
So talking about resolution. So there is, you know, with the 60 meg sensor, we have triple resolution. With the SL3S, we just have
one resolution. Yep.
S3P, we have
dual resolution.
Or they're calling it double resolution.
Whatever. Double resolution, triple resolution.
Yes, so you have 44 or 26 megapixels on the SL3P.
Conspicuously convenient.
Why is that?
Because it's very similar to the resolution in the SL3S.
That's right. So if you wanted to shoot at 24 or near 24 megapixels with the SL3P, you could do it.
Yep.
David and I are not users of that lower resolution RAW functionality, but if it works for you, then...
And I think, again, that is something else aimed squarely at event photographers, because they're like, that fills that exact need, which is, well, I want my 44 megapixel when I'm doing my formal portraits, but you know, I don't want to take up all my drive space or my card space to shoot party pictures when I don't need anything more than 24 megapixel.
There you go.
And you have it. It also means that 26 megapixel is pretty decent if you wanted to use TL lenses, right? APS lenses.
Oh yeah. Well, one of my favorite parts about any SL camera is the ability to use the TL lenses because they're autofocus, electronic aperture control. Most of them are pretty high performance. And the thing is, on the lower res SL bodies, you lost quite a lot of resolution. Now, if you're just shooting for social media, it's not a big deal. But if you want anything more meaningful for cropping, printing, editing, SL3 and SL3-P, I think, are fantastic platforms, especially for the 60 macro, which I still think is, although less relevant now. But up until today was a very relevant lens and still relevant at that price point and for the lightness. But
absolutely.
Now that we've joked about that, I think before we get into comparisons and talk about some other stuff,
we should talk about the news.
There's two things I want to talk about.
Yes.
Well, one for me, one for you. First, I want to talk about something a little different when it comes to availability. Most of the time, when David and I do a launch episode, it's pre-order, although it's pre-order now. But what's cool about the SL3-P is they shipped immediately.
They did.
We got our first allocation at Leica Store Miami this morning. Now, we sold through that, but we will get more. But it's nice to see a product that actually ships in a good quantity on launch day versus trickling into the market, and we have to say, so sorry.
Yeah, I think Leica really planned ahead on this one.
Yes,
more than in the past.
Let's hope. So, and also in terms of pricing, if you want to know, at least in the US market, as of today, where things fall, SL3 is $74.85, SL3-P is $66.90, SL3S is $56.65. So it comes in pretty much smack dab in the middle of the SL3 and SL3S pricing. So yes, we did run out of our initial batch. We'll definitely get more, I think, this week.
Yep.
Maybe, well, it's Thursday, so maybe early next week. But don't be discouraged that we ran out. We'll definitely get more. So if you want to support the channel, obviously throw your order at Leica Store Miami.
And this is a rare thing.
Yes.
You will not hear Josh saying, we'll have more X date. Usually he'd be like, wow, I don't know. I can't comment about that. And, don't bother me. So,
yeah, it's going to be soon.
Yeah.
Now, David.
Yes.
In addition to the SL3-P, we're not going to talk about these things super in depth today, but
we will.
Leica did not yet, but now Leica did sneak in two other pretty significant product launches on the same time. At the same time,
sure did.
What did
they sure
we
did?
get?
And I can bring it up on the screen.
We don't have them physically here like that.
We don't.
So we have to talk about them.
In the like,
yes.
Is it like when they're like, oh, are the lenses with us in the room right now?
Exactly. Yes. We need to get some kind of a ghost whisperer.
Well, seance. We're gonna have a seance. Ouija board.
Pull up Red.form so we can show them the old pictures.
All right. So let's pull up this. So I'm gonna talk about this one, and then you're gonna talk about the other one.
All right. Perfect.
Because we each have our favorites.
Yes.
I mean, you also like this one, but
I do.
So Leica introduced the 100 millimeter APO-Macro-Elmarit-SL 2.8. Let's go. There it is. She's a beauty.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty compact, 67 millimeter front diameter, 28 ounces, I believe, which is...
pretty light.
How much is that in grams?
I don't know.
Okay, cool. I can scroll down and find out. But that's less than a pound, which means I'm going to guess
60 ounces to a pound?
What? Oh, it's less than 2 pounds. Thank you.
I know, you're tired. It's all right.
Yeah. And just showing here, so it'll focus, it's a true 1-to-1, focuses down to 30 centimeters or 0.3 meters, or for the Imperial people out there, just under a foot.
Yeah, it's actually, that spec was wrong. It's actually 11.4 inches, I think.
Is it really?
Yeah, there was like different numbers. But anyway,
I know, yeah.
It is a true 1-to-1 APO-Macro, much like, well, no, not like, sorry, the APO-Macro-R lens, which was only 1-to-2 unless you had added the L-Pro. The 100 APO-Macro-SL is true 1-to-1 without any additional stuff added to it. And it has a focus limiter switch as well, which helps you sort of control.
I have a picture of that.
Yeah, focus speed.
So this is the limiter switch here.
There it is.
So you can see right here, we've got full, half meter to infinity, and then a third of a meter to a half meter, which is really fantastic. We did have a chance to use this lens pretty extensively when we were in Germany. Again, super nice to see that they had lots of pre-production samples that felt at least like production samples. They claim they're not, and we couldn't take them home with us. I don't understand why.
We tried.
Like, we're like, no, we have room in our suitcase.
That's right, we left an extra slot.
Right now. Like, we'll just take it.
Yeah, it's like to have to.
So, we do have that. And the other thing is, I'm surprised that you didn't mention this yet, Josh.
Oh, what it's compatible with.
Because
this is what I want to talk about this because I think this is
I'm just going to say.
Okay, go.
So if 1-to-1 magnification's not enough for you, what could you do?
Well, one thing I can't understand is why Leica didn't promote this feature more prominently in their launch material, because if you're familiar with the current sort of layout of the L mount lineup within the Leica portfolio, recently they introduced both a 1.4x and a 2x extender, which are currently only compatible with the 7200 2.8 and the 100-400 4.5 to 6.3.
Over there.
Yeah, over here. So currently, these two lenses, these two tellies are designed to work with the 1.4x or 2x extenders. However, we now have a third lens. The 100 APO-Macro is compatible with the 1.4x and the 2x extenders. And we were fortunate enough to actually try this. I spent a ton of time with this in Germany. It's insane. Number one, you get full range of focus. So from infinity all the way down to the same, it's about the same minimum.
0.3. Yeah.
You lose like 0.01, but it's the same effective distance. So you get autofocus wire to ceiling, electronic aperture control, all of that. And you have now 1.4 to 1, right? Or 1 to 1.
Oh, that's right.
1.4,
Yep.
1.4 to 1 or 2 to 1.
Yep.
So greater than life size. I was doing some watch dials with my Vacheron.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, I was blown away. To be able to do that handheld with autofocus is crazy. So what I need to say is, if you've pre-ordered the 100 APO-Macro and you know for sure you're going to want it, you need, I think, to get both extenders, but at least get the 1.4, because the ability to have all of that extra compatibility, full range of focus. Again, not like an extension tube or an L Pro where you lost everything but macro. You're just putting it in between the camera and the lens, and all you're losing is a stop or 2 stops of light. Obviously, for shooting macro, you're mostly on a tripod or in good light anyway. It's no big deal, and you're stopping down.
Yep.
But holy cow, awesome.
I have to also,
Yes.
This takes me back.
Ooh.
This takes me back in a few ways.
I love it.
So Leica wrote in their, launch materials that this is an homage to the 100mm APO-Macro-Elmarit-R. I don't know if that's true or not. I mean, it sounds good, maybe. I mean, I don't think that was the driving factor here. But as someone who used the APO-Macro-R, it was, a fantastic lens. I think I had used the 120S lens, the APO-Macro-Elmarit-SL, which is one of my all-time favorite lenses.
Yeah.
And this lens, I think, evokes more of that feeling than the R lens, just if we're, being a little analytical. And actually a lot of this character too.
It is so good.
Yeah. It is so good.
And it's $2,700.
Which is insane.
Which is crazy.
So where this really evokes the R system for me, and I know this is our, this is our R system episode. You're getting it right now.
Oh, right now we know our lenses to show, yeah.
So I rarely carried a lens longer than either the 90 APO-Summicron or the 100 Macro R. And I carried a 2X extender, APO extender, back in the time.
Back in the day.
So that gave me a zoom lens, so to speak, in a very compact form. And I think, I've been thinking about this ever since I had my grubby hands on that 100, is rather than carry this in my kit, when I'm trying to take things nice and small, I might carry just, say, a 28-70, the 100 APO-Macro, and either one or both of those tele-extenders.
Yeah, because they're not that big. I mean, this is the 2X.
They're not that big.
Yeah, smaller than a lens.
So it would give me, essentially, I'd have a 28-70, a 100, a 140, and a 200. 3 of those lenses that could do macro. And the lens, because it has a floating element focus group, it's optimized for performance all the way from close focus at 0.3 meters all the way to infinity. This is not just a macro-only lens. And we did test that out. It is razor sharp at infinity. I would be totally happy to use this as my landscape telephoto because it is so much smaller and lighter than any of the zooms.
Now, we haven't formally tested it against the 90 APO-SL, but I want to be clear, it's not as good as that.
Yeah.
The 90 APO-SL is still king of the hill. But for the price point, the weight, and the functionality, and the compatibility with the extenders, I mean, it's a no-brainer. So if you're thinking about it, grab some extenders. I don't even know if we have them in stock, probably. Jose can drop links if you want, just so you can see the pricing and the specs. But they are compatible with the 100 Macro, and I have to update our website to reflect that. But
I'm looking at the, here. So the weight in Okay, it's 800 grams.
Yeah, it's not a super light lens, but it's not super heavy. It's it's kind of like big enough that it balances really well.
I didn't feel it was heavy at all.
Yeah, for the functionality that it gives you, it's incredible. So this is obviously a lens David and I have been waiting for forever. We did a whole macro episode a couple years ago, which we're gonna have to redo, I'm sure. What was us? But it really is a super exciting launch. We will, of course, do an episode on it. Deliveries are expected to begin September. If that really happens, we'll see. You know, like sometimes they make us cry. But whenever we get our hands on a production sample, we will do an entire episode. We'll compare it against the R lenses, the S lenses, the M lenses, everything. We'll,
all the lenses.
Yes, we will deep dive.
And if you would allow me, I have a handful of images.
Ooh, please, yeah.
That I can show, and you can check for yourself at home because it's right here on Red Dot Forum.
They're on the Red Dot Forum.
They are on the Red Dot Forum. So, so in studio, set up a little studio setup, which was pretty cool in this old. You probably know what kind of 911 this is.
An old one.
An old one. Yep, there it is. Just really crisp and sharp. Easy to handle, here sticking it through a door frame and all that, just to kind of play with the lighting. And also, this is what, with just modeling lights at a higher ISO, we actually, I just pulled the Pocket Wizard off, no flash, just to see what the available light kind of situation would be. And that's the beauty of having a 102.8 and a camera that can shoot high ISO, you can get it done.
Yeah.
And then of course,
these are all on the P, by the way.
These are all Yes, these are all SL3-P.
Sorry, that's amazing.
And here, I think this shows just the gorgeous three-dimensionality of that lens.
You did that?
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah, I did.
That's pretty nice.
Yeah. Right. So the
that's AI.
typical leaf shot from me. I always take leaf shots with water on them, apparently. And it just, everything is so well-defined, so crisp, but also very natural, lifelike. And you can see that fall off from the leaf down the stem is just super gentle and beautiful. The out of focus areas that are just mere inches or centimeters behind this are just completely obliterated.
That's really funny. This is a very short and total tangent, but I took a nature photography class at RIT when I was studying photography there.
Yeah.
And the professor was obsessed with wet leaves. So literally I carried around a spray bottle.
Oh, yeah.
When I would shoot nature and just spray the leaves. And this reminds me of that. I thought I saw you sneak a little dropper or dropping those on there.
Unfortunately, I didn't.
Show no, that one's fine, but I like the car one.
I'll get to the car one.
Okay.
So also just that, and this is also demonstrating just the lovely color that we're getting out of the SL3-P as well. Really nice.
Oh, you're gonna talk about that later because the color is sweet.
Yeah, and this is just kind of going to that effect. I love how gentle. You would think that an APO-Macro would be, harsh and clinical and whatever, but it is really just a pretty lens. I mean, again, this rendering, it's just so natural and surreal.
Is this wide open?
This is wide open and all handheld. I didn't have a tripod, so. And then a little bit of street photography, being able to pick out, and it still has that three-dimensionality for the subject. Or again, in low light, here we are in a Koblenz church. And I just love the bokeh. Like the bokeh on this lens is so pleasing. It's so natural, not obtrusive whatsoever. And then Josh likes the car parts.
Yeah, I do.
There we go.
Sweet.
Another old 911.
So nice.
And, it really just, it pops. I know this is more his wheelhouse.
Show them the watch photo. We're going to look at it. They can look at them on Red.
The what?
The ZM12 photo. The bottom left. Yeah, that one. Yeah, I love that one.
Okay.
So Leica did this really cool thing where in the Lights Cafe at Lights Park in Wetzlar, they set up like 5 or 6 different watch photography setups with lighting and all the different watches. So we can kind of go around and do watch photography, and this is one of them. This is the ZM12 Steel Blue Orange, which is sick.
I like this one. I like this one, actually.
Ooh, that is nice.
Nice.
Yeah. So when you're at Leica, you apparently have access to, at least to photocopy the original plans.
Right.
It's not an original.
ZM1.
Yeah, and then this was, again, just to show that high level of detail, the texture there. Super nice.
And look how little depth of field there is, because that magnifier is like a quarter of an inch tall.
And I think this is at like F10 or something.
And you're literally, the background it's sitting on is out of focus.
It's a book.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So yeah, gives you an idea of what you can do with that lens. And this was, unfortunately, like I said, they wouldn't let me take it home. The MTF charts, go back 1 second, Jose. Sure. The MTF charts are pretty telling. At 2.8, 5.6, and f8, they kind of all look the same. At 2.8, you're talking 85 to 90% contrast wide open with just almost dead straight across the frame. Yeah, this is amazing performance from any lens.
Yeah, and David, David's pictures and all this detail is on the Red.Forum article about the lens, so you don't have to like pause the video and what you can
right there
see all this in full res on your screens whenever you want. It is there.
Yes.
But
and I'll queue up the one for you.
Yes. So we got 2 cool new lenses today. Obviously, David just talked about the 100 macro, but we got something else. But don't. Oh, you pulled it.
Oh, sorry.
Well, you may be familiar. Jose, come back to me for a moment. With this, the 50 Summilux SL.
I need to move some of these.
Which is a lens that we love, a lens that is crazy high performance, and unfortunately is the only SL lens to have ever been discontinued from the catalog.
Recently, though.
Recently. It's large and heavy, but you do get the performance to match.
Mm-hmm.
So for what it can do, there's really nothing else like it. Now, today, Leica came out with a 50 Summilux SL. Exactly the same name. And you may be going, oh, wait, what's going on here?
What's going on here? But I want to show the size comparison because these are comparable.
Yeah, so if we want to do the overhead here, maybe?
Yeah.
So just to get a sense, this is not, we don't have the lens yet, but this is, there we go. It's about the same size as the non-APO Summicron, so you can see it's pretty...
Same front diameter.
Yeah, so just pretend that this is the 50 Lux SL. Anyway, you can come back. Leica has brought a new Summilux to the SL lineup. Now, this is important because your gut reaction is going to be, oh, this is a replacement for the previous 50 Summilux SL. This is the new version. It's better in every way. The old one's junk. I'm going to throw it in the garbage and never see it again. No.
Well, you can throw it in my junk.
That's right. Throw it in the garbage behind the Leica store, 372 Miracle Mile, Coral Gables, Florida, in the alleyway. We'll
take it off your hands.
That's right.
Yeah.
Anyway, no. While this lens may share the same exact name, annoyingly enough, it is not a replacement. The new 50 Summilux SL is designed to render very, very similar to this 50 Summilux M aspheric, the current version, close focus. Leica wanted to bring something new to the SL lineup. You could think of it almost like the classic series lenses for the M. It's not a classic series design, but it's a lens designed to give you a look. It's because traditionally the SL lenses are about cutting edge performance. I mean, the APO SL Summicrons, as we've talked about 1,000 times, are the sharpest lenses Leica has ever made in any focal length. So the 50 Lux SL new version brings us something totally different. An absolutely gorgeous rendering that is M lens-like. If you've shot with the 50 Lux Aspheric M lens, either the previous version or the current close focus version, which share the same basic optical design, you know how that looks, where you've got a sharp center, a rapid focus fall off, soft corners of the vignette, very well-controlled spherical operation in the bokeh where it just melts away, that classic Summilux bokeh. So if you're looking for the 50 Lux M experience on your SL camera or any L-mount camera, that is where the 50 Lux SL comes in. Now, it is significantly smaller and lighter than the previous version. So if you only care about size and weight, well, you should get an M lens. But this is a good example of that. But I want to make sure you understand the previous version is higher performance.
Yes, especially wide open.
Yes, there is the previous version.
When you stop this one down,
this one
pretty
is sharper than the 50 APO M. David has that review on Red.Forum. The proof's there. So let's be clear. The 50 Lux Aspheric version 2 SL is a different lens altogether, not a replacement for this. It is lower performance, different look entirely. It's not going to have that same 3D pop because what this lens has is a level of sharpness both on center and off axis that is top of the line for any Summilux outside of like the 90 Summilux M. However, if you want something totally different, again, more M lens-like, can you pull up the article? Or
yes, and I will say before we go to that.
Yeah, go.
And yes, before you ask the question, yes, when the lens comes at the end of the year, we will be comparing it to these things.
Yes, it'll be a full episode. Leica has said end of the year. That could end up meaning end of what year?
Yeah. It's end of a year, yes.
So I want to show the article, Jose, if we could. Yes. And then David, I want you to talk about the focusing technology and stuff.
Oh, okay.
So if we scroll down, we can see that's what it looks like.
It's so small.
It's very small. Yeah. Look at that little guy. Oh.
It really is.
Nice.
Tiny.
Keep going. Scroll. There you go. See it with a human being. It's like the size of the non-APO Summicrons. I mean, it's very, very wieldable. We shot it in Germany. We were supposed to do certain things, and I ended up just trying to wander around the factory grounds finding cool cars to photograph.
Actually, the design looks very similar to the 50 Summilux.
Yeah,
M.
I mean, they say that it's.
I should have actually compared it because that is really
Next
similar.
time.
Okay.
It's made in Germany.
Yep.
Just so we're clear,
Look
there
at
it
that.
is.
Wow, it's so small.
Do we have any sample images?
I do.
Okay.
Let's talk about the MTF
Yes.
first. So
Okay, David, talk about MTF, and then talk about focusing.
Yeah, so this is what Josh was getting at. You can see wide open. This is designed specifically to give a very certain look, and that look is that classic M rendering. So it's still sharp, similar to the 50 Summilux M. It's still, resolving 70% contrast for 40 line pairs per millimeter in the center, but look at that fall off all the way to 10% contrast in the corners. There's nothing. It just melts away.
That's an M Summilux for you.
So yeah, I would say that last 20% of the corners of the frame are just gone wide open. And that's kind of what you want when you have that central feel look lens. But look what happens just stopping it down to 5.6, and really f8 doesn't change much. That thing sharpens up considerably. All those MTF curves just pop all the way to the top, straight across until the very, very end. So you're talking about rendering now over 80% contrast, 40 line pairs per millimeter, wide open, or at 5.6, all the way just about to the very corners. So this is going to translate to the sides of the frame, the tops of the frame, just not the absolute corners where there's a little bit of fall off.
Yeah.
So
very much like an M lens.
Very much like an M lens.
Yeah.
And the thing is, that's very much on purpose to offer you a look lens wide open, but a very high performing lens that you could shoot landscape or architecture with, stopping down just to 5.6. So this really interesting design.
There we go.
And I do have some.
Before we show pictures, David, talk about the 50 Lux SL, the new version.
Yeah.
Brings two new technologies. One that we've seen once before.
Jose, you can come back to us real quick.
And one that we have not seen from a Leica lens before. So the first thing is the PGM.
Yep.
The precision glass molding technology that we first saw in the 35 Noctilux.
We did.
I go deep into that during that episode, so check it out. But essentially that allows for highly controlled lens design for complex aspherical elements.
And we saw the machine.
Oh, we did see the machine. Yeah, that's right. I was like, what are you going to say? We saw the machine that makes it. I tried to take it home.
It wouldn't fit your luggage.
I just stuck a UPS label on it, care of Josh, but now it didn't make it.
It's very large.
So that's the first thing that lens has. But it also has some new autofocus technology. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I would say the PGM lens technology is certainly worthy of mentioning. And that is how they got the size small.
And they did say they were going to bring it to more lenses. So
it's also why the 35 Noctilux is as small as it is.
Right.
So this technology, you can read into it however you want, is able to take high-performing lenses, fast high-performing lenses, and make them really small.
Sweet. Yeah.
Play with that in your brains and plant that seed. We know we did. And we're like, oh, well, what else do you have hiding back there? And they're like, no. Yeah, keep moving on the tour. That's when they gave us the glass. They're like, oh, look, shiny things.
They distracted us for shiny things. I know. We were going to wander off. Just put on a white coat and we're like, we work here. It's fine. Yeah.
Sprickensen Deutsch.
We got it.
So the other technology that they employed in the 50 Summilux-SL that is new for Leica, not new technology. Other manufacturers do have this, but it's Leica's first foray and attempt of doing this. And they did it entirely in-house in terms of design and implementation, which is called a voice coil motor, or VCM technology. Essentially, traditional focus either is a stepper motor, a linear motor. Leica's done everything. We have the dual synchro drive, which is kind of a linear motor where two elements are moving in opposition to each other. They developed it first for the 90-280 and then rolled it out on the Summicrons, and they were able to improve focus speed and accuracy. This is different. There is no gearing, there is no rail, there is no stepper motor. The focusing group rides entirely in an electromagnetic field and is moved by electromagnets forward and back, which allows for near instantaneous acceleration, deceleration, and positioning. Very, very accurate, very, very fast, and completely silent because it's not touching anything. They also say it's also more durable and reliable over the long term because there's no wear parts in the focus system.
Cool.
Since it doesn't touch anything. It just moves electronically. I did ask, because my brain works this way, so you're driving this magnet, floating lenses in the middle of it. How does that work on battery life? And they said it's insignificant. So
Okay.
maybe it's more significant, but we didn't
Not
notice
from
it.
our testing. No, not from my testing.
So yeah, it's really fascinating. I would warn, and we're going to do this when we have the lens episode.
Yes.
If you take a normal lens and do this, not much happens. If you take the 50 Summilux and you do this, it goes kind of clunk, 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 clunk.
It's not broken.
It's not broken.
Probably not broken.
It's part of the design. When there's no electricity flowing into the electromagnets, there's nothing holding that focusing group in place. Therefore, it rests inside. Totally normal. But as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh my gosh, people are going to think their lenses are broken.
So pictures.
It is pretty cool though. Yes, let's look at just a handful of pictures.
Then we're gonna take questions.
Yeah, so
get ready, Jose.
now this,
Wow.
you know what that is? That is a cappuccino
That's what I need right now.
at the famous Lights Cafe. So yes, that is the
I wanna
real
go
deal
back.
right there.
I want to go back.
But Josh, you want to talk through kind of what you see with this bokeh, especially?
Can you move the mouse? It's bothering me.
Sorry,
move the mouse. Yeah,
It's
that's
like
funny.
right in the middle.
sorry about that.
I mean,
especially down here.
Yeah. So what we're seeing here is the result of Leica's classic aspherical Summilux rendering. Very, very well controlled, not jittery. It's like silky smooth, but look how quickly it sort of decelerates, for lack of a better term. That's really what these M lens designs, for lack of a better term, are all about, right? If this was an Apple Summicron, it would look totally different. We're getting this really delicate but rapid fall off, perfectly out from the center. And you can see the plane of focus is right around the front edge of the I'm pointing like you can see, the front edge of the cuff and that little clipboard there. And it just melts away, but in a very controlled fashion. You can look at the text and you can see just how quickly it just becomes unreadable. And there's a spoon with specular highlights. I see no chromatic aberration that I can tell.
Nope.
So everything is very well controlled. That's where the PGM technology comes in, is really complex aspherical designs on very small elements. So really, really delicate. I just love it's like, it's not dreamy in the sense of where it's soft, but it's
not swirly either.
No, it just is, just to say this again, it's the classic M-Lens Summilux look, where it's just very pleasing. It doesn't have bokeh that is swirly or stands out to you like a Noctilux does, which has its own place in the look and something I love, or the vintage lens look. Extremely well controlled, both side to side and front to back, which is really, really important because you want predictability in a modern lens. Even a modern lens that has character, you want to understand how it's going to behave and what it's going to do. And I think the 50 Summilux-SL, the new one, is a really easy lens to live with like that, especially because of the size. Now, again, if you really care about ultimate sharpness and performance, this is not the first lens in the portfolio that I would grab. I would either get a 50 APO-SL or find a pre-owned 50 Summilux-SL.
Now that being said, well, I'm going to show another bokeh example, and then I'm going to show you something else.
Ooh, this is nice.
So I like this one also because it does show that center sharpness, even slightly off center. But again, this natural rendering, and here you go, right here in this branch, sort of is that, and down here in these leaves is that classic M lens bokeh.
Yeah, it's controlled. It's not yelling at you like, "Look at me, I'm bokeh." It's just like, it's just nice. It's just very pretty. And this is a really good example, David, too, because it shows you, again, how quickly things fall off from the point of focus, even though it's not dead center. I mean, if you look at the leaves in the top left corner, I mean, they're just like perfectly soft, but not obnoxious and really, really well controlled. And for a lens that size that still has autofocus and that level of performance, it's something else.
And weather sealing.
And weather sealing, that's right. Sweet.
Now.
Ooh. Oh, I'm so hungry.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, the cake photos.
But look at this. This is stop down.
There you go.
This is 5.6, and everything in this photo is sharp corner to corner, and it's well controlled. There's no geometric distortion. There's no fall off at all. It performs like any SL lens would. So it's kind of interesting because it really shows that you have that balance of smooth, well controlled bokeh when you want that with center sharpness, and then you can have a general purpose,
yeah.
landscape or architecture or travel lens. And here's another one. This is stopped down a little bit, shot just overhead, and it's the same thing.
It doesn't really tell us very much, but it does look delicious.
But it's well, the point is that it's flat field.
Yeah.
It's sharp. There is no fall off. There's also no vignetting. It's very well controlled.
It's what you would expect from an SL lens, but it injects that M lens character in there as well. And that's really the first time we've seen Leica do this really intentionally. We got close with the non-APO 1535 Summicron SLs, which I do feel render much like their M lens Summicron counterparts, not quite the same. This takes it even further, being a Summilux and being that more complex design.
Yeah, and here's one other example with that bokeh in the corner
I need it.
as well. And the front bokeh as
They
well.
wouldn't let me eat it. They said, no, we need to save it for the next photographer. I was like, but I'm hungry.
This actually was, it's funny, it's not staged. This was just one of the cakes they have in the Lights Cafe, and he's like, oh, I'll take that. And he's like, yeah. And they're like, wait, what?
I know, right? Oh.
But actually, when we were in there, the guys were like, the bakers were making more.
Yeah, they have like award-winning pastries at this cafe.
Yeah, they really do.
Anyway,
So that's...
come back to us. Why don't we, because now it's 9 o'clock, why don't we take some questions other than the ones that are like ISO comparison, which we'll show next.
We are, yeah, that's going to be great.
You want to pull up the chat as well?
Oh, yeah.
Jose.
All right. Does the SL3-P support wireless tethering outside of the Photos app?
No. One day maybe with a new model, but no, you still need to.
For wired tether, though, it has full support in Lightroom and Capture One. In fact, the studio model session, they gave people the option to do tethering into Capture One, which they had a system there.
Okay.
Yep.
Any new manual focus and assist?
No.
Same.
Yeah, all that stuff is there's no like real major menu feature changes aside from like the new burst modes and.
Yeah, next question is, does SL3-P have 2 memory card slots?
Yeah, everything else is the same. For the good stuff. So all the accessories, all the buttons, all the size and weight, the 3, the S, and the P, they're all exactly the same. So if you have batteries, grips, M adapters, whatever, all going to be exactly the same.
Okay. Battery life versus the other SL3s?
I mean, just rated at 400 shots.
I'd say the same.
more,
I mean,
yeah.
I shot
Same, yeah.
a ton of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, I will say this. If you shoot at 30 frames or 40 frames a second, it uses some battery.
Yeah.
But that's going to be true of anything, just the amount of data you're processing. So yeah, and I guess we'll show those later, but when I was shooting race photos at the Nürburgring, it was, and we were encouraged by Leica. They're like, try 40 frames a second. We're like,
way overkill.
and it's like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad that I brought a huge memory card and it's almost full. So yeah, thankfully they had a little battery station so you could swap out batteries. So I can't tell you exactly how much battery life I went through other than more than I would on a normal photography outing because I don't normally shoot 40 frames a second.
Me neither. But I'm excited to. So I did a little bit in Germany. And it was,
it's fun.
I had like
It's
1,000 pictures to look through. But
And the thing is, because it's electronic shutter, it makes no noise.
it's so freaky.
and the viewfinder doesn't black out. So you're just looking through it and you're like, is it taking pictures? And then you look on the screen. Oh, it took like 100.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty nuts. All right, what else? Right.
Does the EVF get blurry while magnifying to focus?
Yeah, it's the same experience as an SL3 and SL3S. It's the same viewfinder. I think that's one area where the MEV1 really shines is if I were to rank all the cameras in terms of how crisp the magnified live view is for M lenses, EV1 is still the king and the SL3 family would be underneath that. That's just how it goes.
Yeah.
Okay.
What else?
Let's see. Is it a blown everything out of the water improvement compared to the SL3S or just an incremental upgrade?
That's a good question. I think that's going to depend on your use case. If you're shooting action or wildlife, it's a significant improvement. And what's basically going to happen is you're going to be able to get a higher percentage of images in focus. Or I should say less images out of focus because the tracking is both faster and more accurate because of the machine learning.
Yep.
The 30 versus 40 frames per second, I don't think it's going to change anyone's life dramatically on the S versus the P. I think where you're really going to see things improve is the in focus or the in focus percentage. And it will depend on the modes you use, the lens you use. There's a million variables, right? But all things being equal, that's where the P really shines, is its ability to lock on focus, have stickier tracking focus. David shot at the Nürburgring, cars racing around at relatively high speeds, and you'll see his pictures, they just nailed it. So,
I mean, I didn't, they're going through my viewfinder so quickly, coming around a turn, and it's just going, because I'm shooting at 280 millimeter.
Yeah.
Like I just hit the
fingers
shutter.
crossed, yeah.
I just hit the shutter when the car came in. I'm like, maybe.
Hope I got it. Yeah.
I don't know. And it did. It's shockingly.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't know to trust it until you see the results.
Yeah, I think that the S is still extremely capable. It's still good for long videos, less power consumption, less heating. The autofocus is still really, really good on the S because it has the face detection, which the 3 doesn't have. The P gives you that faster focusing with 21 megapixels. So I think there are some significant advantages to what the P can do for that kind of photography. If you're just shooting landscape, I would get an SL3.
Yeah. Right. And as someone who shoots landscape, so where's the use case here? Will I switch? Because I never found a compelling reason to switch to the SL3S because I'm a landscape photographer and I love the SL3. I love the image quality out of it. I love the resolution and dynamic range. I don't do a lot of low light shooting, and I don't do, I do some astro, but not a huge amount. But I have to say, where I think this camera really fits in is somewhere, a destination trip like Japan or Bhutan or Vietnam, where you are shooting landscape, but you're also shooting a lot of reportage and environmental photography, environmental portraiture in dimly lit houses and buildings where you don't have a lot of light, you don't have a lot of time with people who are living there and working there, and they're inviting you into their home or their place of business, and they're saying, yeah, okay, take some pictures, but that doesn't mean do a full photo shoot and set up lights. It means you have 10 seconds. And then they'll wave at you and say, okay, bye, have a nice day. And I think that's where the P could really shine because, and especially we talk about this using user profiles, being able to very quickly switch between, say, your landscape modality and doing environmental portraiture or doing street photography and having profiles for those in your camera that you can easily switch.
Yeah.
Would it enable you to have such a high hit rate on those sort of secondary portraiture sessions or street scenes where maybe I would have brought a Q3 to do those kind of things because it excels at that, because it has a 1.7 lens, because it's pretty fast at focusing, and it's small and compact. But imagine being able to do that with, say, the either the new 51.4 or the 28-70, and walk into an environment like that and be able to do the things that you shouldn't be able to do with your main landscape camera.
Yeah. Yeah, the SL3 is still the image quality king. Highest resolution, most dynamic range.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that we say that. It's not that the P dethrones everybody, right? Each camera has its place. If you're shooting landscape and you're not doing a lot of things that need fast autofocus and you just want maximum performance, SL3. That has not changed.
What do I usually say? Oh, yeah, mountains don't move very fast.
That's right. What else we got, Jose?
All right. Does the SL3-P come with focus stacking?
Focus stacking? No.
No.
No, I don't know if we'll ever get that functionality in a Leica camera. It'd be cool, but not yet. Not in camera, anyway.
Okay.
It does do handheld multi-shot in camera, though.
That's better than nothing.
All right.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Which lenses have the most meaningful difference for the SL3-P's improved autofocus?
Ooh, I love this question.
That's a Josh question.
Yes. So the fastest focusing for tracking SL lens, in my opinion, is not this one. Where'd it go? Oh, yeah, there
I
it is.
stole it.
Is the 7200. This lens is crazy fast. Now the 9280 you use in Germany, and it's
was
super
fine.
fast, right?
Yeah.
So
Shockingly
the
so.
difference is not as big as it used to be with the new cameras and the new firmwares and all across all three. But the 7200 is the fastest. Also the 50, where we go? The 35 and 50 non-APOs are also ridiculously fast. So it's going to depend on what it is that you're shooting. But if you go out with an SL3-P and a 35 Summicron SL, non-APO, that's going to be like Q3 levels of focus speed, if not more.
Yeah.
It's crazy fast. Now, the APOs are still a huge difference in performance, and they focus pretty well. But Leica has come a long way since that technology, and they're continuing to improve and putting that tech in their lenses. So the newer lenses, in general, do tend to focus faster. So I think if you have a couple of APOs for performance and one or two maybe of the non-APOs or a lens like the 7200 when you need that ultimate focus speed for tracking focus. I mean, like for sports, wildlife, whatever. I haven't tried any of like the other Element Alliance partner teles. I'm sure they work really well. I saw in some of Leica's marketing images using, I think, a big Sigma lens, which I'm really dying to try. So at some point.
Yep.
If you send me to the Nürburgring.
Oh, hold on. Yeah, let me just book that right now.
Look at that. What a guy. But anyway, yeah. So I think 7200 is what I would take to the racetrack. Although I have not compared the 9280 to the 7200 on the SL3-P yet. So that's something that we will both do over the next few months as we dive into this camera more because it came out today. Long answer, sorry.
Sure. What else we got, Jose?
All right. Let's see. Okay. Does the camera still have the exposure shift when acquiring focus?
Not that I saw.
That means. Okay. Is the new 50 lux the fastest?
We'll tell you when it's production. We've only used pre-production prototypes, so.
It is pretty fast, though.
It's pretty darn fast. When we do our show on it, that's certainly something I'll be testing in X months.
I also wouldn't shoot birds in flight with a 50 mm.
Right. Yes. You get really, really big birds or really, really close to them. One or the other.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's pretty much it?
Yep.
Okay. So we...
Where should we go?
We have two major things to show, right?
Yeah.
One is your images that you took.
Yeah, I already showed a bunch, but this is more of the race photos. Yeah.
Okay, and then two would be, we did, of course, our traditional high ISO testing.
Sure did.
It would be great to not go full 2 hours tonight so I can get some sleep, and so can you. So we'll see. Why don't we show some ISO testing?
Sure.
I think that'll be, so what we tend to do whenever there's a new camera is we want to know how does it compare at high ISO settings to the relevant model. So in this case, we compared the SL3S, SL3 to the SL3P. We shoot our classic, iconic subject of the camera bag shelf at the Leica store, which has just become very easy to work with now. And we do every single ISO, like we stop ISO settings, and we do a little light post-processing, sort of common sense approach in Lightroom just to equalize everything. Well, I say we, you did all that.
Yep. That was what I did after the launch.
That's right. Yes. And that will allow us to get a sense of where each of these series cameras, or how well each of these cameras performs.
Yep.
We're mostly interested in the more extreme settings, because that's really where the technology shows what it can do. So, David.
Yes.
Why don't we start
Where do you want to start?
at what I think is a lot of people's comfort zone limit, which is 6400 ISO.
64.
Let's compare it to the SL3 to the SL3P, and let's see how the differences are.
Okay. SL3 to, hold on, let me get my keyboard over here.
Space.
SL3, so this is SL3S.
It's nice, but he's doing this because normally I'm doing this, and it's like
So SL3P versus SL3, right?
Nice. Yes.
Here we go. There they are. And you can see, for your reference, we have SL3P on the left, SL3 on the right. You can see they have exactly the same exposure at exactly the same focal length with exactly the same lens. Yes? We all agree?
We all agree.
I feel like a magician with the card trick.
On speaker for the group.
Right. So I shuffled this deck.
That's right.
And yeah,
Show
anyway.
the picture.
All right. So there is these should look very similar, but when we zoom in, there'll be a slight magnification difference, which you can see because on the left, we have 44 megapixel. On the right, we have 60 megapixel. And like Josh is saying, if you're after absolute image quality and, ultimate size for printing, the SL3 is still the top dog here. Now, these are both great results. I do want to just, again, because people always ask. So these are going to be the same settings for all of the pictures. I just want to show that. They're basically a daylight white balance. We had some daylight balanced lights in the store that we just bounced off the ceiling to provide general lighting. And I tried to keep this as even as possible. There's not a whole lot here. Very small amount of tone curve. And I did use, because I learned from our previous episode for the something that we were comparing.
Yeah.
What were you doing? It was something.
QC monochrome, maybe?
Maybe.
I don't remember. It was a while ago.
Something. The AID noise is a really great tool. It just takes forever on my somewhat older laptop. So, this is a good excuse for me to get a new computer.
Oh, I see.
Right.
So you get a new computer, but I don't get to go to the Nurburgring.
That's right.
Is that
that's
how
right.
it is?
Yes.
All right.
Well, because I need a new computer.
Why do you need to go to the Nurburgring?
So I did apply AI denoise across all of these, and then it puts it all at 50%. So I did change this based on the ISO of the camera. So because we're only at 6400, I dialed denoise all the way back to 15. The problem is denoise at its default setting can be very aggressive and just overly make everything look like plastic. So we don't want that. I do want to see still texture and detail. So I dialed it back, and you'll notice regular manual noise reduction is at 0. So we're looking at 6400 ISO with a very small amount of denoise and no regular noise reduction. Okay, we're all on the same page.
All right.
All right, now, same settings on the SL3, just so you know. I think these are both very good results. What do you think, Josh?
Oh, I gotta get closer. I mean,
You're out of frame.
put David in the back of the frame. There we go.
How do you feel? How do you feel when I do this? All right. All right. Let's look.
It's been a long week, like I
All
keep
right.
saying. All right,
Let's
see.
look at some of these things.
I mean, they're
pretty good.
really, really, really good. I mean, I feel like I'm seeing more detail in the P, but barely. I mean, it would make sense that the SL3P has slightly lower noise because it's slightly lower resolution, but
I'd say this is really, really
they're
close.
very, 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 very close.
Which is what you would expect, right?
Yeah.
This is not a surprise.
Right.
We're very familiar with the 60 megapixel sensor.
Right.
Even before AI denoise, I would be 8 million % confident shooting at 6400. In fact, I typically find the threshold on this sensor, on the 60 megapixel sensor in the SL3, the Q3, the Q343, the M11, the MEV1, to really excel up to about 10,000, 12,000 ISO. And if you need to push it, 25,000 is still definitely usable. So we're not even getting started here.
Yeah. This is, to think that this is 6400 is kind of insane. Sorry, I keep leaning out of frame because I'm looking, because just a couple of years ago, 6400 like on the SL2 was pushing it, but now this looks like 800 on the SL2.
Yeah, it looks great.
I mean, look at the red bag. I mean, the amount of detail and those delicate textures that both of these cameras are holding is really, really impressive.
Sure.
I think the P, I don't know, it's so close. We need to go higher.
Sure, let's go
We're
higher.
just not pushing the cameras enough at 6400 anymore. So let's go like, I don't know, 25,000?
Well, let me go to next step up.
Fine, you and your common sense. I want to go higher.
Let's go to 10,000. I think a
Not
lot.
high enough. 12.5.
Okay, let's go to
There we
12.5.
go.
I think a lot of people kind of find solace there, Josh.
Oh, I see.
All right, so now again we have
Can you go to your toolbar at the bottom there?
Oh, this one?
Yeah, the task. No, the start bar.
Oh, I thought it was hidden. That's weird. I don't know. I don't know why it's not hiding. Get Dawn. I don't know. That's weird.
Well, because it's locked.
That would do it. Okay.
No, it's still there.
I don't know. That's weird.
Yeah, whatever.
Don't worry about it.
It's okay.
Oh, there. No, it still doesn't go away. Don't worry about it. All right.
No photo selected. That looks great.
Why did we do that? What did you do?
I was trying to make it better.
What did you do?
Yeah, leave me
SL3,
alone.
SL3P,
Okay,
and
we
we
got
need to
it.
reverse that. How do we reverse that? I always forget.
got it.
Click the other one, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, no. The other way.
There we go.
Okay. So now we are looking at 12,500 ISO. Same settings on both. SL3P, again, on the left. SL3 on the right. We do see a resolution difference. I mean, first of all, you look at the chart. I'd say maybe, I'm going to go with Josh, that the text is a little bit sharper on the SL3P, but it is a little bit more resolution on the subject on the SL3.
Yeah, I think we're getting. Again, they're so close. I mean, that's incredible to me how good the P is. I mean, this is what is this? 12,500 ISO.
Yes.
And look at the texture in the bag. I think the P is doing a little bit better here.
Yeah.
It's pretty close.
It's pretty close.
Yeah. Darn, yeah.
Yeah, so we're doing a good job here. All right, so we haven't really found the threshold yet.
Let's keep going.
Let's keep going. Let's keep going. All right, so let's go up to 25,000. Here we go. So 25,000, SL3P on the left, SL3 on the right. We've got to find it.
We're gonna
too.
do it. This is you're on this journey with us together.
All right, now
Journey
I
of
feel
discovery.
like something. Oh,
it's thinking.
okay. It rendered. It wasn't rendered.
Can we get a faster computer in here, please?
It's on the list. All right.
After you send me to the nerd room.
Right.
Let it load. Let it load. Let it
there we
load.
go.
There we go. Okay.
Okay, now.
Ooh. Okay. Look at. Oh man, this is where the P is coming out ahead. Although I'm actually extremely impressed with the SL3.
Well, listen. These are great cameras. But look at the detail.
Yeah,
here.
the detail on the P. Okay, so I think 25,000 is where you start to see the differences coming through between the 3 and the P.
Well, definitely the noise pattern in the darker in this dark wall is much tighter than what you see happening in the SL3. Right? The SL3, you're starting to get this sort of more pattern noise. It's still very finely grained.
Yeah.
You can see it in the colors as well, in the color patches. So we're starting to pick up this sort of speckly noise.
Yeah, and you're losing a little
in
bit of
midtones.
saturation in the SL3. Again, this is ISO 25,000.
25,000.
So it's very high, but I would say
Also, there's a color shift happening, starting to happen on the SL3, where you're getting a little bit of this yellow tinge coming in, and you notice it's more neutral here a little bit. So,
oh, there we go. Look at the detail on the tag. Yeah, I mean, even though the SL3P is 15 less megapixels, I can read the text easier on the tag there.
yeah, you can also see the shadow is cleaner here versus here.
Go down a little bit more.
That's all there is.
No, I wanted to see on the left, on the other side, like those highlights on the shelves. I'd like to look at those. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, those are both really well controlled. A little bit better on the P. Just keeping things, it's just general, keeping things under control better at 25,000.
Yeah.
Should we go to 50,000?
You know,
Should we go to 1 billion?
it doesn't go to 1 billion, Josh. I think 50,000?
50,000. Yes. Extreme.
I'm not expecting the best. So
Oh, I'm expecting, I don't know what I'm expecting. Okay. And zoom and enhance.
magnify and enhance.
Magnify and enhance. That's what it is, yes. All right.
Give it a second. Give it a second. It's funny because it says loading on the right, but it also needs to load. Oh, it just loaded.
It's loaded, yeah.
Okay. Here we go. Meanwhile, this thing sounds like it's going to take off.
Well, it's turning through some major data.
Yeah, it is.
It's being inspired. There we go. Okay.
Okay, now.
Wow.
Now I would definitely say the text is falling apart.
Yeah, this is at the edge of usability with the SL3, but holy moly, look at
if you look at the tag, it's sort of garbling the text on the on this overworth tag.
Yeah.
But it's perfectly readable on the SL3P. So I think this is kind of where it pulls ahead. But it takes 50,000 ISO to get there, so it's pretty impressive.
And what this also means is that the SL3P files, even at lower ISO settings, have a lot of malleability because of that greater high ISO noise performance. So
Yeah. Not bad.
I think we need to show how the P compares to the S, because I do
For sure.
believe that most people watching right now who have a SL3S are really curious about where the P comes in, because the S is the low light SL.
Well, let me go. I'm going to rewind this back.
Yeah, not that. Yeah, go back to the lower settings. Yeah.
I'm going to go back to 6400 again. Okay, so now let's do this versus that. And nope, I want the other way around. Nope, I definitely don't want that. Okay, there we go. So we got SL3P on the left, SL3S on the right.
Okay.
We're at 6400 again. Now, it is worth pointing out that the S is a little bit brighter on its exposure just generally. So we did have to dial it like a third of a stop difference to get the exposure to match.
Now you'll see, of course, the
Yeah.
magnification difference is significant because we're at 44 versus 24.
Yeah.
Do you want to zoom in like we were doing the other day, or you want to keep
Not
it
particularly.
1 to 1? Okay.
Yeah, let's keep it 1 to 1.
Okay.
Keep it honest. Keep it
Okay.
honest.
I mean, here you can see what 20 extra megapixels gives you. Now, think back to what we just showed, which was the the P versus the regular SL3. That difference was almost negligible. Here, it's significant.
Sure.
But
We're at 6400.
Yeah.
Everything should look good.
yeah.
Everything does look
Yeah,
good.
I don't see any differences, really. You're closer to the monitor. Can you see?
I mean, I'm also blind, so
Oh, I mean, I mean,
this does look sharp.
yeah, I think they're about the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not bad, not bad.
Yeah, I mean, the S is amazing, but the P is, oof. All right, let's go to 12.5.
Okay, here we go.
Do it.
We're getting there. We're getting there.
Okay.
I keep doing this.
I forget the shortcut to switch them.
I know, right?
Somebody tell me what it is. There you go. All right, so now we're at ISO 12,500. Let's see.
We get to the middle.
Yeah, start at the middle. Let it load.
It is loaded.
They're pretty darn close.
They are, yeah.
I think the S might have a slight edge here. It could just be a magnification thing.
Right.
But I think the S has a slight edge.
I do. I think the S does look. It looks sharper at this setting.
Yeah.
It looks sharper at 12,500.
But the gap here is much, much smaller than between the P and the 3.
But this is interesting. So yes, it looks a little sharper, but look what's happening up here in terms of this noise gradient. So it does seem a little bit more speckly in the shadows. I do notice also that the SL3S, especially when you're comparing all these three side by side, it holds a lot of extra contrast. I did have to dial the contrast back to match the other two, which is kind of fascinating. But there are definitely slight differences in terms of their rendering.
Let's go
25.
25,000. I'm loving it. Okay.
Nope.
Ooh, SL3 again.
Gosh,
You're doing great.
I know.
Dude,
Thanks.
you did
Okay.
it. Okay.
Here we go. We've got 25,000.
Right.
P on the left, S on the right. The S is putting up a good fight.
It really is. I would be really curious if we I know we're not going to do this on the show, but if we were to downsample the P to 24, I bet it would look almost exactly the same.
Or up-res.
Or we'd have to try both at some point.
Yeah.
But I got to tell you, the gap between the S and the P is a lot smaller than the P and the regular SL3 in terms of the difference in low light. Because, yeah, I mean,
It's very crisp.
it's crisp, but the P is holding its own, man. I'm telling you.
And you got more resolution to deal with.
Yeah, I
By
mean,
a lot.
the P loses a little bit of saturation, a little bit, like in the pink in the bottom there.
Yeah.
But again, it's a small gap. So I think what I'm beginning to sort of discern here is that if you have an SL3S and you spend a lot of time in really high ISO settings and environments, you're not going to get better performance from the P in that specific area. But if you need all the other things the P brings to the table, you're not really giving up very much
Sure.
either.
Now here we go. This is 50,000.
Okay.
And again, I think the S.
Yeah, the S has it.
The S is a little crisper.
Which is what I would expect, but man, the difference is just not that.
I
not
mean,
that big.
here you can see that text.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
You know, I'm definitely seeing a little crisper
So don't feel
result.
bad if you have an SL3S because that camera still is a monster at ISO 50,000.
Yeah. So
Interesting. Come back to us.
pretty tough. And like Josh said, it is notable how much more color saturation
Yeah.
the S is holding.
Yeah.
And I haven't normalized that across the range, so it's the same exact saturation and color settings from base ISO all the way to highest ISO, just because we wanted to have a really even analysis.
Fascinating. I think we should.
And what we're seeing is that the S does hold a bit more color saturation as ISO increases, more so than the SL3 and the SL3P. But it's pretty negligible, and I'm sure it could be corrected out.
Well said. Any questions that have come in during that testing, Jose?
Not at the moment. No.
Okay, just making sure.
Any hate mail?
And yeah, lots of that. Yeah, I think in terms of high ISO, the SL3S is still the king. The SL3P is extremely close.
Yeah.
And the SL3 is I don't want to say a distant last, because it's
No,
still
'cause
pretty
it's
darn
pretty
good.
close.
But, above 12.5 is
Yeah.
really where those differences start to show. And I just think it's incredibly impressive that the P can bring 44 megs to the table while still having near 24 megapixel levels of noise. That's really, really, really cool.
Well, and have to pick up also this the sensor readout speed without sacrificing image quality, right? Because generally speaking, when it comes to engineering, there's usually a sacrifice involved. There is usually a trade-off to say, well, we're going to have this really crazy fast readout sensor, but we're giving up some image quality to do it. Is it worth it, right? And here we're seeing that there doesn't seem to be a whole lot of sacrifice being made.
Yeah. I think, I know you want to show pictures, but I want to make sure we get to the sort of scenarios topic. You know, because right now we have 3 cameras in the portfolio, SL3, SL3S, and now the SL3-P. And I think there's going to be a lot of questions about what do I do? And obviously everybody's situation is different, and our favorite phrase, it depends, comes into play big time here. But what I'd like to do for you is, in a brief way, if you can.
What is this brief word you said?
I know. Talk someone through, maybe they don't have an SL.
Yeah.
And they need to decide between a 3, a P, and an S. What are, to me, the major things that are going to help you decide between those 3 cameras?
Well, I think we've covered a lot of it already.
I know, but I want you to summarize for us, because I think it's important. I want to bring it all back to that.
So if I want and you know, here we are looking at a controlled lighting, indoor, semi-illuminated subject, right? We're not looking at a really high dynamic range, backlit situation, for instance, that you would have in traditional landscape photography, right? When I go out and I shoot landscape photography, dynamic range is a real thing. Like, it is a real thing, because typically the prettiest pictures are the one that have the highest contrast just that you're looking at, because the sun is breaking over the horizon and you're staring right into it, and there's a shadow in front of you that's, you know, 12 stops darker than the sun. And it's just something that you have to deal with. And historically, we've used graduated filters. Modern day, you know, we're using exposure bracketing and then blending that into HDR merge and Lightroom, but it's still a pain. And what's really nice about I would say, the sensor generation that's in the SL3, because I also find this in the M11, I also find it in the Q3, is that it really does have an extraordinarily high amount of inherent dynamic range, especially at base ISO. It makes life easier for a landscape photographer, but also having 60 megapixels to put on the frame every time you press the shutter. Yeah, of course, with all of these, you can use multi-shot. But if you don't have to, and you can walk away with the highest resolution with single shot capability, I think that's where the SL3 continues to shine and will continue to shine, where you're shooting in, let's say, either daylight conditions or on a tripod when it's dark out, and you don't need that super low light ability. I think the SL3, you know, still really delivers in terms of absolute image quality. And also, again, for landscape photography, I don't even use autofocus. I put my camera in manual focus, and I dial it in by number to get maximum depth of field. I don't care about autofocus speed. I don't care about burst rate. All I want is maximum image quality if I'm looking at the SL3.
Great, so I'll just take these.
All right, so that's one scenario.
That's the SL3.
Yes.
Now, there's 2 other cameras you have to talk about.
No, that's all there is.
Oh, that's all there is.
Let's go.
What about the SL3S? Why would you pick the SL3S?
So the SL3S, I think, as we saw, still holds that edge in terms of its low light ability. And I know for a fact, knowing certain people, that it is well loved for astrophotography for a couple of reasons. One, it has ridiculously good low light performance, very well controlled noise. It holds color saturation, which is kind of important when you're doing astrophotography and you want colored stars, because they actually do have color. That's not just noise. So having color saturation at high ISO, and also I would say the viewfinder experience on the S camera is significantly...
Well, be careful when you say S camera. You mean the SL3S.
The SL3S, yes.
Okay.
Not S camera.
Yes,
the SL3S, the viewfinder experience in enhanced live view is significantly better in, I'm going to say, near darkness conditions than the SL3. I've seen it, like, it's night and day. Again, because of the inherent sensitivity of the SL3S sensor, it is exceptionally good as well for allowing you to visualize and see and focus on the stars in that environment. Not autofocus, manual focus, dialing in star detail for maximum infinity focus.
Okay.
So I think for astrophotography, it really has a purpose, not a porpoise. And also I think still for video applications, because like you said, the sensor does run really nice and cool. So if you're running like what we have here, and you want to set up a permanent studio, the SL3S is an ideal camera for that. As you can see, all our cameras here. So that works really well, I think, still for bread and butter 4K video production. And 6K open gate still is phenomenally good. So there's a lot to still love on the SL3S, and it does really well, especially for low light video, I'd say, as well.
Yeah.
Again, because of that inherent quality that it has in low light without much post-processing.
And now the P.
And now the P. And the P just kind of fits in for everyone else.
Oh my goodness.
For real. So if you're looking for, and we said this at the top of the show, which is it blends the best of both while improving a little bit here and there, right? So it's not just as good for focus and speed than the SL3S. It's better than the SL3S in focus and speed. Maybe not quite as good for low light ability as we've seen in the S, but still a hair better than the SL3 without giving up much resolution, but gaining a tremendous amount of speed. So for someone who needs 7, 15, I'm trying to think of the modes, 25, 30, 40 frames per second focus tracking, continuous, and actually being able to hit those shots confidently. Fast-moving subjects, especially using electronic shutter, where you need that readout speed. You are shooting in tricky lighting conditions, but maybe not needing that maximum dynamic range, or you're okay doing bracketing. I think that the SL3-P kind of fits in those scenarios pretty well. Yeah. So I could see where it can do most of the job of the SL3, and I think it can do most of the job of the SL3S, and that's where it's positioned.
Yeah, I think if I had an SL3S now, to determine if the P was right for me, I would first look at where I'm spending my time in terms of high ISO. If I spend a lot of time above 6400, 12,500, I may be tempted to stick with the S because that's really where it shines. But if I was shooting a lot of action, a lot of fast-moving things, and I wasn't really going quite that high, and I could benefit from the increased speed, the increased resolution, I'd probably gravitate more towards the P. I may not get rid of the SL3S because I don't think I don't know where they're at now price-wise. I think like 3,500 to 4,000 on the used market, and they're going to come down. So it may not be worth it getting rid of that camera because it's so powerful and such a phenomenal backup, and also great, like you said, for the longer form video work.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd get rid of an SL3 unless I didn't need that nth degree of image quality and I wanted the speed in return, because the SL3's 5 frames per second with focus shooting mode is pretty limited if you want to shoot fast action. So,
well, and because you have the 100 millisecond readout.
Correct.
You can't really use electronic shutter or high shutter speeds for fast-moving objects.
So when you start getting into these cameras, like it's one thing where you go from M10 to M11. I mean, that's obvious, right? Because it's a generational improvement. But this is really about, do these features and improvements fit the kind of photography you either are doing or want to be doing? And how does the current tool you have connect with the SL3-P? So there's going to be a different answer for everyone. Some of it will be budgetary as well. If you have something you could keep or something you want to trade, that's cool. But I think over the next few months, as we continue to use the SL3-P, as you continue to use the P, and more user experience gets in the market, there'll be more insight into where all the cameras slot in. But I don't think if I had an S or a 3, I would be running out to sell them both or trade them both to get a P without really understanding where it is that my photography is falling in terms of ISO, frame rate, and the need for that high-speed focusing.
I'll give you a curveball here.
Fire away.
SL2.
Oh my goodness.
Now,
the thing is,
it's almost like apples to...
The SL2 is just a rock-solid platform.
It is.
And it's so much camera for the money. Right now in the used market, they're like $2,000 and $2,500 in the US right now, which is so much camera for the money. And if I had an SL2, would I get rid of it to get a 3P? If I didn't need it and I didn't need a second camera, yeah, I think it's a worthy upgrade.
That was my workhorse for 4 straight years.
Yeah, that was a worthy upgrade. But if I wanted to have a backup and didn't want to take the hit on it value-wise, I may keep it.
But here is what I'm thinking.
Yes, go ahead.
So let's say, because I'm being selfish and I'm talking about myself, if I have, theoretically, an SL3 and an SL2.
Yeah.
Let's just imagine that for a second.
I get that. Yeah, then the SL2 should go, and you should replace that with a P.
I think it kind of makes sense because I'm not giving up anything in terms of resolution.
Yes.
But I'm gaining a lot in terms of low light ability and autofocus performance. And now I have kind of the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
Because where I might have had the SL2 as a backup, because again, I've said this, like, I don't sneeze at any single SL2 shot I've taken.
Yeah.
I love them all.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't think I could have taken a better picture had I had a better camera, because the SL2 was just a workhorse for me. So yes, so I've held on to SL2 as a backup.
Yeah.
But now, personally, I'm looking at this as saying, well, I have the SL3 as my main camera. And now having the exact same generational platform, but filling in those gaps where the SL3 falls a bit short in terms of that speed when I need it. Maybe I don't need it all the time. Maybe I only need it 25, 30% of the time. But, you know, it's nice to have it, especially in a backup body.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I think the 3 and the P makes a very powerful combination.
Yes.
Because you've got outright performance for image quality and outright performance for focusing and burst mode speed. And they really pair well. And of course, same menu, same settings, same user
Accessories,
experience, same
batteries,
accessories.
yeah.
Yeah, that's all. Nothing. That's all the same. So it makes it really easy to have one kit. So, whew, man, we got into it. Are there any burning questions, Jose, we have to get to?
We just go on right now. Which of the 3 cameras would you choose for studio portraiture?
Probably SL3. Well, it would depend, I guess.
Not necessarily. So I would have said that, but I'm going to say the studio portrait session that I did in Lights Park was eye-opening because so it was set up and organized by photographer Pat Domingo, who's a great guy. He's done a lot of videos and other content for Leica. He's a professional fashion photographer shooting for LVMH and all the biggest brands and all this stuff. And he's like, hey, you should put it on zone and continuous autofocus with face detection. I'm like, really? We're in a studio. Like, I'm not moving and she's not moving. He's like, just trust me. Just trust me. I'm like, all right. And I listened. My gosh, did that make life so easy? Instead of my normal process in the studio had always been back button autofocus on the eye, recompose, shoot, back button, recompose, you know, every shot. This one I'm just like bang, 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 bang. And every single shot is tack sharp.
I love that.
So thank you, Pat Domingo.
Yeah, so what you're really sort of experiencing is you're eliminating one of those stress points, which is like making sure you got the focus point over the eye, and all you're doing is focusing on the moments, the subject, the lighting. I love that. That's actually awesome.
So I would have said SL3.
Yeah. No, I haven't. I didn't have that studio experience you did, so that's really good insight.
I'm gonna 100% say SL3P.
Nice. What else we got, Jose?
You guys touched on this, but we got another question about comparing the high ISO performance video and stills with the SL3S. Did you get any chance to shoot any video or?
We didn't do video.
No, not yet. It'll happen, just not yet. But I think the S is still going to be the king.
Yeah, it's going to shoot. Just from what we've seen, it will shoot better low light video, generally speaking.
Yeah. More testing will come.
Focus tracking, when you put that into the mix, you know, the SL3P is still going to do better focus tracking in low light, probably, but we need to test that.
Yeah, and we will.
Cool. All right.
Cool. Why don't we show a few images and then wrap up so that...
So I'll show...
We can get back to work.
I'm going to show talk about dynamic... Oh, okay. Here's...
You're too soon, Jose.
You're too... Oh, you beat me to it, Jose. All right.
Okay.
Let me... there we go. Okay. I forget how to make this bigger.
Double click?
No. I had to... Ha. Yeah.
I think what...
All right.
The previews?
Yeah. Somewhere.
Picture tools up top? Oh, view.
View. There we go.
You need
Extra large. Okay, perfect. So I do want to show, it's not to sell short the dynamic range capabilities. So I found this this church. This was in...
That's not a racing photo.
It's not a racing photo. We're talking about dynamic range just for a second.
We're ready for you, Jose.
Okay, you can go. So this is church in Koblenz. So I think it works out pretty well. It's a single shot. We can see we're holding the stained glass, the color, plus the scene. And I looked back and I saw these rays of light coming in. This is, I'm going to say, this was not easy to shoot. I don't think it had to do with the P, but I ended up having to do exposure bracketing and then blending 2 or 3 shots to get these. I don't know if I could have done this with an SL3. Probably not. It's just too much dynamic range coming in. But I think it looks cool. So
There you go.
I was able to do it handheld. All right. I know Josh wants to see stuff. I'll also show the action. We shot these like BMX bike people, which is pretty cool. And come on, how cool is it that... Go. Don't go? What's happening right now?
Is it opening like behind?
Is it?
Oh, there it is. Yeah.
There it is.
Doing great.
Yeah, so doing this, these guys, they put a ramp right in front of the factory.
Well, show the photo with that shows that.
They're all mixed up.
You're doing great.
There we
Go back. There it is.
There it is.
Literally, they put like a bike ramp with a jump and everything in front of the factory. I mean, it was crazy to see that in this sort of like very serious magical place. But we loved it.
Yeah, so this was pretty fun. All right, so just we saw some of these photos already. Yes, we saw all those. You know, this was the studio session. And again, this was just in continuous autofocus with eye face body detection. And it just nails it every single time. So any kind of changing mood, subject, when I kind of like got in the car window with her, it just focused on the eyes automatically without me having to really think about it. And every single shot is sharp, which is great. So, okay, so let's go. We want to go to the car racing, right?
Yes, so organized.
Yes. I'm sorry. I have no idea why, but they are completely out of order.
Wow, this is like the most random smattering
It is.
of photo I've ever
Listen.
seen. You got
This-
bikers, watches,
I
churches.
know. I showed you guys that. Okay, so here we are at the Nürburgring. Sorry, Josh.
One less syllable.
One less syllable. Nürburgring.
Yeah, you got it.
You know, and I tried to approach it from kind of a photojournalism perspective, as one should. And we're not sure if this is actually Max Verstappen. I don't think it is, but it's definitely a teammate because he was there at the thing. So just kind of trying to capture these moments, things that are moving fast. We did have access, was really cool, to this pit garage. So we're in the pit garage. I am in a very space about yay big, crammed between a car bumper and the do not cross line unless you have a flame retardant suit. So I am trying to not be in the way of these guys. And very fast moving, obviously, when you're in the pits. And again, just eye face body detection and just let it rip. We didn't have a whole lot of time. These are really quick moving scenes. And just being able to know that you're just getting every single shot with the confidence of the autofocus. It also doesn't get tricked very easily by obstructing foregrounds, so it still will find people, which is pretty nice.
Were you using different lenses or?
Yeah, some of these, the wider ones are the 16-35, and I was using the 24-90 with these. So just two lenses. So that's the 24-90. You know, and these guys, yeah, they had that 1 second fist bump, and that was about it. Car parts, there you go. So some of these now are with the 100 as well, and then some are back to the 24-90. And it's interesting, they had all these classic cars in the vintage paddock, where these guys would set up almost like mobile garages and work on these vintage cars. It was pretty wild. What impressed me about this one is that all the red and yellow, and yet you still see neutral pavement, and the camera is able to balance all these colors really easily. So it does produce reds really nice. And that was just an awesome car, so I had to photograph it. I'm not a car photographer like Josh.
You did pretty good.
But
You did pretty good.
these Porsche wheels were pretty banged up. And, just some candid shots of people.
Really racing photos, Apple.
Oh, I'm getting there.
Let's get there.
They didn't race yet. This guy, come on.
Sick.
So classy to just have the Monaco. And he was American, too. It was funny. And he's like posing for me. This guy's apparently from Texas, which is like America, but different.
Be careful what you say.
That's Max Verstappen's car. So I just happened to shoot it because we were trying to cross the street, and what do they call these people? The marshals. Yeah, the marshals are just blocking traffic. And again, I just like the all the colors, the color rendering is really nice on the camera. The yellows, the blues, didn't take a lot of work. I just applied my regular SL3 preset and boom, here we go. And then the actual racing, never tried this before, ever. I've never tried to shoot moving cars. And the crazy thing is, I'm using a longer lens. These are not cropped. I'm trying to just see, will it actually focus on this car that's in the frame for a fraction of a second? And every single one that I tried, and you could see when I was shooting high frame rate that it does track. And because it's the Nürburgring, apparently you get 4 seasons in one day. So it started raining, and then shortly after this, it started hailing. But it's cool because there's actually some water spray on the track and all that. And then the sun came back out. But what I like about the camera is the flexibility and the ability to change subject matter just on the fly, whether you're shooting action or you're shooting more of a scene of, behind the scenes of these, different action around the racing, I think is kind of interesting. And this happened just in a moment where these fans, they were setting off these flares for some car going by. And I mean, it really was just gone in 3 seconds. And these guys were done. And being able to just pivot quickly from the track over to these guys, photograph them, and then go back to the racing. Again, it's just flexible. So they're not all the best photos, but they're in focus. I can say that.
That's right.
And they're colorful, and they're cool old vintage. There's an Alpha, old 911, old BMWs. So what's interesting about this particular angle, because we tried to shift around a bit, these cars are coming almost straight towards you. I think these were taken from the fence, and then I have some other ones where I'm closer on the track. So this car is just barreling right towards you, and I am using zone continuous autofocus using the vehicle setting. And it would just lock on and shoot it as it's barreling towards me at however fast these cars go. Like this one is just straight on. And I know most people, I have a few of these, like most experienced race photographers don't shoot these kind of static shots. I was really trying to see specifically how high a hit rate could I actually get with these subjects coming at you very, very quickly and being able to lock on in the small amount of time that the subject was in the frame to when it exited the frame, and without me moving. So I would be stationary with the focus point set somewhere in the middle here. And as soon as I saw the car coming in, I just leaned on the shutter. It acquired focus, shot all the way through the frame. Most of the cars cut off, which is why I didn't pick those. And I'm like, wow, it nails almost all these shots, which is great. And then I tried to do the panning thing, but I'm really bad at it. So
it's hard, man.
This one's like, okay, but it's
good.
It's all right. There are much better race photographers than I am, and I thought that's cool because the wheel's off the ground. So
All right.
Anyway, so you get the idea.
Photos. There's lots of
like
them.
this one.
They can come back to us now.
So
Yeah.
it was a humbling learning experience.
You did a great
sure.
job. That was cool. And of course, you really got to see how well the camera performed, which is what the whole point of that.
Right. For me, it's not like I don't need race photos. For me, I was more interested in testing the different drive modes. So I was trying stuff at 7 frames a second, at 15 frames a second, at 30 frames a second. I was trying the tracking mode, the zone focusing mode. And I could say, at least my findings were, I found for this kind of photography that the zone in 12-bit, say 15 frames per second was, I'd say that or 30, but I didn't need 30.
We'll at some point do like an autofocus deep dive episode and get into some of those settings. So I don't want to tease that.
Yeah, but it basically, pretty much any mode that I tried, at any frame rate I tried, focused on these cars near every single time. Yeah. So if I think in my general life, I don't shoot race cars, but I do shoot wildlife sometimes, and I do shoot people. And I can tell you for a fact that animals and humans don't go as fast as race cars.
That's true.
So I know this. So by the transitive property of
That's right.
mathematics,
They'll work perfectly for that, yeah.
I can tell that for my own photography, when I'm shooting people who might be moving through the frame, or I'm shooting birds or animals or puffins or penguins or whatever that I might photograph in the future, I have a very, very high confidence level that all of those pictures will be sharp.
Cool.
So there you go. That is
Nicely done.
how it
Any last burning questions before we sign off, Jose?
I mean, we just got one asking about the low light comparison between SL2S and SL3-P, but
I mean, I don't think they're in the same category at this point. So I think SL2S is a great camera for the money, but there's nothing that the SL2S does better than the SL3-P, other than be cheaper.
It does that though.
Yeah, which is actually a great value for that.
Yeah, it really is.
All right, you want to sign us off?
Was that really the only question?
Yeah. Well,
Wow.
there may be more, but it's 9:56, and I think 95 closes at 11 o'clock. So
Oh, God.
I want to get home.
Wow. Okay. So we have learned many things today. I am not the world's best automotive photographer. I'll stick to my mountains and trees and waterfalls.
There you go.
But hey, listen, we all got to stretch and grow as photographers. I'm very excited about the SL3-P. When, I guess when we were first being introduced to it, the sales pitch was pretty interesting. I just want to touch on that for a second. So Leica gave a press presentation talking about Roger Federer, how he wasn't the best at serving or the fastest or the most power or the whatever. I don't know enough about Roger Federer, but apparently he's not the best at anything. He just was the best tennis player, because of the combination of different things all working together holistically to enable him to just play a better game. And that's where Leica positions the SL3-P, at least from their perspective, which is it may not have the absolute image quality and dynamic range of the SL3. It may not have the absolute low light performance of the SL3S, but it does those things so well, each by themselves, by blending the capabilities of the SL3S, the SL3, into this one camera that then excels in other areas, to where I have to agree with Josh. I know it doesn't happen very often, but I have to agree with Josh in that I do believe that this is now, I would say, the mainstream choice for those looking to get into the SL system.
Yeah.
And it really is the technology platform, standard bearer for the system.
Beautifully said. I'm excited to keep using this thing and put it through its paces and get more content out there for everyone who's watching. So we're back July 25th, so in 1 month. Until then, sign us off.
Until then. Well, thanks for joining us on a Thursday evening. We know it's unusual, but this is what Leica likes to do to us, so here it is.
That's right.
Thank you to Josh, as always. Big thanks to Jose for managing those camera angles and ignoring your questions and keeping everyone in check.
You did a good job.
And again, and thanks to everyone for tuning in. And I do want to repeat just a really big thanks to Leica for having us over to Germany, having the opportunity to play with the camera, the new lenses, in such a interesting environment where it's not just pictures of a fence. It was really cool to really put the camera through its paces in these more high performance, high demanding environments.
And make sure, if you're interested in any of the SLs or new lenses, used lenses, anything that has the Leica dot on it or not, if you like what we do, support us by shopping at Leica Store Miami. We have the SL3-P and the new lenses available for pre-order. We have some good used lenses in stock for the SL system. We have new lenses. Whatever you need, we certainly would appreciate it. I'm going to make sure I throw that in there because that is what keeps the lights on in the studio.
Yeah, there's links in the description below to do that. Also, we mentioned it previously in this morning's short video, but we do have links in the description for the 2-part episode that we did on the entire SL lens lineup.
Yes.
So if you are looking to jump into the SL system or get back into the SL system or get in more seriously, lenses are where it's at. You know, you as they say, you marry the lenses, you date the cameras. So check it out. First part is all the wide angles. Second part is all the normals and telephotos.
That's right.
And we cover every single last lens in detail. And thanks to our great viewers, have a lot of sample images to show from each lens that were viewer submitted, which was
That was awesome.
very, very welcome.
Yeah, we love that. Yeah.
So we love that. So definitely check that out. And if you are not already subscribed, please, please subscribe to Red Dot Forum. Click the notification bell so you know when we post new content like this, because hey, this was a surprise to all of us.
That's right.
And make sure to check out reddotforum.com, the website, not the YouTube. You can read all about the camera launch in more depth, the lenses, the new firmware that dropped today. It's all sitting on Red Dot Forum. Thank you very much. Have a great evening, and we will see you in a few weeks. Until then,
Good night,
take
everyone.
care and happy photography.
Good night, guys.